Oh boy.
It's your boys.
This is Pat and Drew from Quick Sixer Podcast. This is episode 8, season 2. We're here at MacLeod Ale Brewing Company with Jennifer and Alastair. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Something's off.
Cell phone's off.
Thanks for having us. We have a bunch of beer in front of us, guys.
Yeah.
So much beer.
Yeah. This is amazing.
Too much beer.
Beautiful site.
It's our brew's fault.
This is a perfect Instagram, as some would say. So I guess we want to talk about our first time would be like, how did you guys start here? Why Van Nuys?
Okay. Before I say that, should I just do a disclaimer that we're actually in the brewery and there's some brewing operations going on? So there's clinking and clanking,
True,
and I'm feeling very self-conscious about that. But I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah,
I know everyone will understand. So.
Yeah. So.
Coincidence is how we ended up here. We really were looking sort of in this triangle between here, which is near the 405 and the 101 freeways, and Pasadena and downtown, anywhere in there. So we looked far and wide. We looked actually at the Burbank Airport, Van Nuys Airport. There's lots of industrial buildings there. You have to be in a certain zone when you open a brewery. You have to be in a medium M2 manufacturing zone.
Okay.
So those zones tend to be near railroad tracks and airports and things like that. So,
Okay. Cool.
so we looked at quite a few buildings. We even applied to some of those buildings and for whatever reason didn't work out. And then one day Alastair, who ran the landscape company at the time, was dropping one of his workers off at home, and he drove past this building and it had a for lease sign on, so we checked it out, and coincidentally this building is 3 blocks from where my kids went to elementary school.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we know the neighborhood really well.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, like you said, we're in the brew. We're inside right now.
Yeah.
This is Quick Sixers Podcast first Inside the Brewery podcast. Yeah. We've been, associated with other brews and friends and listeners sending us beer and stuff. But we want to thank you guys for inviting us here. This is awesome.
Our pleasure.
Cool.
We're excited about the spread. You want to talk a little bit about the beers, like what we got here? Or?
What are we starting out with? What is this one?
Yeah, so where did that come from? Okay, that one is, so when we first started, because we were on a budget, we were advised, or it was recommended to us to maybe consider starting with Cask Ale, which is spelled Cask, cask conditioned, or sometimes it's called real ale.
Okay.
Because we didn't need as much equipment to do that. We could go directly from a fermenter to basically the keg, but not your standard keg, a special keg that comes. We actually get them from. I guess these are made in Germany, but they use them in Europe all over the place. So, so that's what we did. That's how we started with all cask ale.
Nice.
Then after about a year and a half, we started making draft beer, which is basically around here we call that the cold fizzy beer. The other one is the warm flat beer. So those two tasters back there are from our cold fizzy collection, our draft beer. Yeah. All so right. I just poured you 4 of those. So I poured you a newer beer that has become very popular, which is called a hog in the Bantam pen.
Okay.
Not to be confused with a hog in the Batman pen, which is what it sometimes mistakenly gets called. It's a Vienna lager, so it's a very approachable beer. Right, yeah. It's not. It has some British origins in its history, due to European brewers, basically stealing from England,
right,
copying the techniques, and so there is a bit of a connection there. But it is a little bit of a departure from our standard British ale. So that's just a very approachable beer. It's not going to make you go like, wow, or anything like that. It's just, but it's a very well-made, nice beer. Actually, this version, I believe, We actually used a different yeast than we normally do because our brewers have been working on some really cool Viking beers. And we got some very expensive Danish yeast. And they were trying to justify the expense. So they're like, what else can we ferment with this? So we did a version of this beer with that yeast.
Nice.
So it's slightly different than our normal, just slightly.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Cool.
it's great.
Yeah, so that's number 1 in the cold fizzy selection.
Cool.
What do you guys think?
That's great.
Good. It's good.
Love it.
Cheers, you guys. Would you guys
Uh-oh.
want
We don't have any of those.
one? No? One of
That-
these? You want to
Y'all can have those too.
That's bad
Yeah.
form.
bad form?
Here, honey. Take this. We can get another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
So, Alistair, you're from Scotland? Is that
Right,
correct?
yes.
So I was kind of wondering what, the difference in culture of beer over there as compared to here. I was wondering if you had any insights into your now brewing in the States.
Well, they're catching up with the United States in so far as making beers more exciting, more robust, more varied, interesting, unusual ingredients. To quote my friend from back home, beers with a zing is what they're all about, and that's what's winning the medals in the UK these days.
yeah.
Right.
So,
But we
yeah,
don't do any of those.
yeah, the type of we've reverted. We've gone back to what they were doing, 80 years ago.
Okay. What do you mean by with the zing?
Well, lots of hops or lots of really robust malt
Okay.
character.
All right.
Other, hops that give off very unusual types of aromas and flavor.
Some of those English and Scottish breweries are actually sending their brewers to San Diego to
Right.
various breweries to start learning about, how we're using hops
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not us though. I have
There-
to keep saying that.
Yeah.
We're a different kind of brewery, but
There's so many popping up everywhere, but especially San Diego. It's like it's huge, and we see trends a lot, like with the milk stouts, a big trend, or like some different brown ales, different kinds of brown ales that are like flavored in some way.
Yeah.
But I like that you guys have it, simple beer, like it's good, smooth tasting, beer.
our beer is more of a. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
It's all very well for you to say that, but unless you do these tricks like milk stout, oatmeal stout,
Yeah.
these catchphrases,
Yeah.
they tend to not sell as well. You have to sort of really choose a name or describe the style in a very appealing way with these catchphrases that have sort of positive connotations.
Right. So it's more about the marketing.
Coffee, the word coffee is
Yeah.
like real excited about
I
things.
get it. Okay.
or anything with fruit in it.
Fruit.
Which,
Yeah.
not-
I see a lot of
which
these-
we're not doing any of this. I'm gonna feel really bad at the end of this.
Why?
Like, honey, we gotta change all our beers. And
No,
put
no.
fruit
This
in
is-
them. Put fruit in them.
No. We'd rather it be this way. Like I'm kind of sick of seeing like the passion fruit and grapefruits.
But you did make
all the fruits.
you do make a good point though, with the marketing aspect of making it sound interesting for the people to buy. Like I'm just looking at some of your names right now. Say, was it something? Don't dent the bus.
Joe, don't dent the
Why are you
bus.
so
Like-
blind?
I just don't have my glasses on. Tell us a little bit of the process of coming up with those names.
Yeah.
Try it.
Oh, is
Oh
this
yeah,
it?
here's Joe, don't dent the bus.
I got
Wait,
one of
which-
those.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Number
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
This is one of our cask beers, and it's a very good
Oh yeah.
Very smooth.
English bitter. If you went to London and said,
This is.
say it in your best English accent.
A pint of your best bitter, please,
Yeah,
mate.
Yeah, exactly. If
It's
you
not
said
exactly a best bitter, it's the one above the best bitter,
Right.
which is the extra special bitter.
Okay.
But it's
It just
close.
means it's a little stronger. So if you go into a pub and say that,
This is-
you
so
might
we
get
get
something
something like
this
this?
good. Not quite as good
Yeah,
because
this-
ours is better.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
But so this is cask ale. So it's served. You're probably noticing already that it's a little bit warmer. We don't like to use the word warm here.
Less cold.
It's
Less
less,
cold.
cold. We have 2 cold boxes. One is traditional cellar temperature.
Okay.
So pretty much all cellars are like the same temperature,
Yeah.
which is hovering around 50 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cold fizzy stuff is at 38 degrees.
Oh, okay.
So it's really important to serve cask ale at that temperature because all of the recipes are geared towards that temperature. If you serve this beer colder, it's going to be even flatter because the CO2 will
Cool.
be in, just compacted inside that beer, and also just the flavors. It'll just taste thin, and it won't have a flavor impact if you drink that cold. So it's important. So we don't really send these beers out; they're just really for here.
So that's interesting. We like to think that we're beer nuts and we know a lot, but like that stuff that you're saying, I had no idea about that kind of. Was this knowledge like before you decided to do a brewery or start a brewery, or were you like, I want to do a brewery, let me figure out every single thing?
That one.
Yeah.
Our friend Suzanne said, that you can become an expert in any topic if you read 1 hour a day for a year. So I really took that to heart. Okay. And that can kind of empower you to not be afraid to do things. I mean, people aren't born as brewers.
Yeah.
So it's learned just like everything else. So no reason why not to just jump in and start learning.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's kind of like,
The other point that has to be made about that is that both Jenny and I, well, Jenny was too young to drink beer, but we were both raised in the UK.
Okay.
And it was back in the 70s. There was a lot of the modern mechanized beer available, but there was still that lingering sense that it should be a little bit more still, and the temperature and stuff. So even the modern draft beer had that kind of a real ale feel to it.
Yeah.
So that's what we were raised with. And actually, I was raised in the 70s, and the campaign for real ale was actually just starting then. And
there's a thing called the Campaign for Real Ale.
Wow.
yeah. Camera for short.
Yeah, Cameron. It started in the 70s by a couple of guys, 4 guys, who were distressed about all the cold fizzy keg beer, big brands taking over England and decimating the British beer industry.
Okay.
And now Camera has, I don't know how many members, but many. It's quite successful, and they definitely did help resurrect the British beer industry. And the big thing that sets this style of beer apart, other than the temperature, is the fizz. So it's got a lower fizz to it, and the reason is because it's completely naturally carbonated. So you just put it in the container. It has yeast in it. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can still have residual sugar because you haven't fully fermented the beer, or you can add some sugar back into it to give the yeast something to eat. Seal it up tight, and then it creates its own carbonation.
Yeah.
But the level is going to be a little bit lower than modern beer, where you shoot CO2 into it under pressure from huge tanks that you get from some factory. We do that too now.
I don't think we asked you when did you start this brewery?
We opened the doors in 2014 in June, but we were working on it for 2 years. We leased this building in July of 2012, so it's kind of common. It takes a while. If anyone out there thinks you can just get a brewery going really quickly, every time I worry about some new brewery that's starting, and I'm like, oh no, they're gonna get it done in 5 months. I'm gonna be jealous, and it's like, no, it never happens. It always
takes some time.
Yeah, it does.
What was the biggest step that you guys had to hurdle when you guys were starting out?
Parking comes to mind.
The city of LA, there's the paperwork and the process of getting the permits, and you have to have a public hearing, and
Oh yeah, that's right, because you're gonna be brewing.
Yeah, there was people that objected to at our public hearing because over the subject of parking. But that was very unique to us because we just have a small area in the front, so it can only accommodate really 3 cars officially.
Yeah.
I mean, we do tandem, and we get about 8 in there, but yeah, street parking, which is all taken away by the auto body shops.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
We experienced that when we were.
I mean, he lives downtown. You have to pay like what?
Yeah, I have to pay $150 for
just
a parking lot for the month.
Yeah.
And it's rough. I mean, it's gonna be that way everywhere in LA.
Yeah.
It sucks.
You guys asked about the names, and I think we need to talk about the names
Let's do
because this is one fun aspect of breweries that you might notice or start paying attention to. Not every brewery does this, but a lot of breweries are started by very creative people who are passionate and have hobbies.
Yeah.
So our hobby is bagpiping.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
a big part of how we got into the brewery in the first place. So here we are as bagpipers doing this, and so we actually name all our beers after bagpipe tunes.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
But I never wanted this place to be too Scottishy or anything.
You guys
so
both play?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we
cool.
kind of keep that under the radar. Like we don't have tartan hanging around, and we don't name the beers like we Johnny's Scottish dance or any or
Yeah.
anything with
Alright.
sheep or anything like
That's
that.
a very modern approach.
So,
It's very
yeah,
cool.
I like it.
and it's really
Yeah.
cool that there are a lot of modern tunes, and there are even some ancient tunes. Like we have a popular beer called the King's Taxes. That tune's probably 300 years old.
Yeah.
Someone listening to this is probably knows differently, but anyway, it's an old tune.
Hey, we
It's an
believe
old
you.
tune. And then we also have another beer that's not on today called the Little Spree. That sounds another ancient tune. And then there are tunes up there that are written by people I know, so they're contemporary tunes.
Oh,
and
cool.
and I even, if I really have to, I'll write a tune. If I really want to name a beer someday,
wow.
I will write a tune for it. So
Yeah, like the number one beer, the Session Gap, which is a 3.3% ordinary bitter,
Yeah.
which is great, sort of lunchtime beer.
Okay.
Or, lightweight beer
Yeah.
for lightweights, for dart players that don't want to get wobbly halfway through the tournament or whatever. So that tune was a friend of ours, a Canadian fellow who he was visiting a pub that was to have a music session, and there was an interval between the two sets.
Yeah.
And they said, "Come on, up here, Bruce, play your pipes. And, we need some music, play your pipes." And he just impromptu got up, played his pipes, tried to play a tune. Bagpipes have a lot of tunes very similar. He went off the tune, went on to other melodies and riffs and this and that, and just nobody really noticed because he's a pro. But at the next day, he thought, that was kind of cool. I think I'll develop that.
Okay.
And I'll name it for the session gap, the gap in the middle of the session.
Oh,
So
Sweet,
nice.
sweet.
So that's an example.
That's super
That's
cool.
cool.
And
That's
we
very
liked
cool.
it because it had the word session in it, because that's obviously a very sessionable beer at 3.3%.
Yeah.
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 it's actually not usually at 3.3%. So
3.5 is where it started, yeah.
So how does that go about? Like, I'm sure that some beers are harder or different to brew than others, or it's not, or it's the same
Brewers
thing.
fuck up sometimes. That's
Yeah.
how that happens.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Something happened back
That's all
there.
good.
They forget to order the right malt.
Something
Substitute.
Something happened. We lost
So-
we lost 0.2%.
It's one of those. This'll work.
Is there like a bagpipe like community in LA, or is
Yeah.
it just? Oh, really?
Big. Yeah.
Really? So do you guys get together and then like some of the names will come from just stuff that you're saying, or like stuff?
Yeah, sometimes
Tunes that you guys are
I'm in
playing?
a pipe band called the Pasadena Scots, which I was privileged to help start 10 years ago.
Nice.
And we have tunes named after things we've done. Like we went to Scotland, and one of our guys has flamboyant blue, green, and purple hair, and
Nice.
he's and so. And we went to George Square, so the tune is the Peacock of George Square, the kinds of things like that. So
cool.
the tunes definitely have to do with. And in fact, another friend of mine, I don't know the story behind it, but he wrote the tune called "Lost in London." So of course,
cool.
there's obviously some kind of story behind that one. And
That's awesome.
I'm imagining this dude with the colorful hair and the traditional kilt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just,
styling.
set up like with
Getting
the
it.
traditional award,
and
awesome.
he's half Japanese, and
All right.
but so he
see,
has
hey,
quite the-
breaking the mold right there.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's cool.
Well, let's try another one. then.
Yeah.
What do we got?
You want to go back to the cold fizzy?
So the next one is one of my favorites. I love brown ales, and I think we make a really good one. So that
do.
second one there is called Cutting Bracken.
Cool.
Bracken being an
And,
8-foot tall fern that grows very well in wet climates.
And then it goes a red-brown color when it dries.
Yeah,
and then
nice.
the whole countryside is covered with that.
Yeah, the frost kills it.
Cool.
You
always like brown ales.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So would this be considered a cask?
No,
no.
this is back to draft.
It's back to draft.
Cold,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, my
Cold.
bad.
It goes pretty well as cask, though. We've been trying to find beers that will do double duty as cask and draft, but it's actually quite difficult to do that because once you chill these beers down, the flavor is
just
diminished a
way
little
different.
bit. But this is one of the beers that does really well in both formats.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That's cool.
So when you do them like that, do you do like a double batch and then, or can you do like one batch
split
and then
the
split
batch.
it?
Split the batch.
That reminds me, I'm gonna pop up in a minute and get
Yeah.
you guys. We totally skipped over the nitro beers, but we have some amazing nitro beers on.
All right,
So,
all right.
Excited about that. What's the nitro beer? Tell me about that.
so normally for draft beer, you carbonate that with
Right.
CO2, but for nitro beers, you basically nitrogenate them, which basically just means you use nitrogen instead of CO2,
That's pretty
or a
cool.
mixture of
And-
those two. And so that actually was developed. Most people are familiar with that because that's how they serve Guinness. And
Right.
so you know how it cascades and it
Yeah,
has
yeah.
this nice white creamy head. And that is actually was developed to be able to serve beer from a keg that would emulate cask ale.
Oh, okay.
So if anyone out there likes those types of beers, they should really look into cask ale because
yeah.
that's the genesis of that kind of beer. But we make a couple of really great ones. A great
Nice.
dry Irish
Cool.
stout. We've got a fresh batch on. So it's nice and roasty, and then we have a lovely oatmeal stout on. I think I'll get you.
I'll grab a couple.
Yeah, go grab
All
one.
right, cool. I think I tried the King's Taxes last time I was here. Is that one of your regular nitros that you guys have?
I know King's Taxes is on nitro. Don't tell anyone, but I'm not a fan. I mean, I think the King's Taxes should just be a cask ale. That's like one of our original cask ales,
Cool.
and occasionally we do put some on nitro.
All right.
There are people who in this world who always just go for the nitro. So,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't.
I would,
And you said you originally, when you first started this, you weren't cask and you moved to it?
No,
or-
we started off as all cask.
All
Can you
cask.
imagine? So you can understand why people were thinking, are they crazy? How are they
confused?
going to survive with cask ale in LA?
Yeah.
oh,
So
yes.
it went from cask to you know,
looks like a little bit of everything.
yeah, a
now.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
What
Well,
do you-
cask can be anything. I mean, it's traditionally, we think of it as British, but you can make any kind of beer and put it in cask. It's not always advisable. I mean, but we've done IPAs. Cask actually lets you do really fun things because there's a lot of historical recipes that are great on cask. And if you think about it, the technology that we know today for kegs and refrigeration has not been around that long. So cask ale was the only thing going. So we've done some really fun things and made like some historical IPAs like from 1918 and
Yeah,
other things
cool.
like that. So
That's cool.
yeah.
That's really good.
My slogan for this beer is, "It's better for you." A variation of the Guinness slogan.
It definitely
Which
tastes like
was,
it's
good
it's
for
good
you.
for you.
Good.
it tastes like it's good for you. It's really good.
Which one? This is the cut and dry, or yeah?
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Nice.
very cool.
Yeah, the other
dig
one
it.
is not dissimilar, but it's more robust, the oatmeal stout. So this is a little bit smoother.
Usually get real full with oatmeal stouts for some reason. I just feel like I ate a full meal.
So you moved into all these different other kinds of beers and process of making beers. What would you think the future, like, are you looking to do something next? Are you expanding on what you're doing now? or-
Before that though, you guys, how long is we're in the tap room right now.
Yes.
How long has the tap room been open?
The same as the brewery. So everything opened in June of 2014.
Okay.
So a year and 2.5 years.
Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
I'm amazed we survived this long.
I'm not with these
It's
flavors.
a struggle. No, it's it's not path to instant millionaire.
No.
It's a struggle, just like any other business.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what we do is the same thing. Like we you gotta start way
Yeah.
bottom. You know,
Yeah.
like me and him both work in film production. Mm-hmm. So it's like we do this because we like this. You know, we like this stuff and we like the culture of it, and it's fun for us. So we decided when we had some time. That's why it took us so long to get over here. I don't know. I don't think we've talked about it, but me and Drew tried to block out some time to contact you to try to get over here.
Yeah.
We were like, oh man, this isn't gonna work. 'Cause he was traveling and we were back here, back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just like our thing was trying to do something that we wanted to do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think it's cool to see other people that do something they want to do,
Yeah.
even though it's
sure.
gonna be hard. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best things when you succeed.
Uh-huh.
So to
Hard
ans-
things are hard.
Yeah. What's the future?
To answer your question about the future, we are not really in a position to reveal that because we have some big plans.
Oh.
They're secret.
I like that.
We can't let the cat out of the bag.
Lots of secrets.
Were you thinking about beers with the actual beer, or
Yeah, just anything that you got,
What's on the docket?
if you don't want to
talk about it a little.
don't unveil anything.
It
that
might
you
not
don't
come
want
true.
to.
It might not come true,
Well,
but
Yeah.
well, one thing that we've constantly talked about is opening another location. So probably a satellite tasting room. So that's potentially in the works. We are in talks with someone right now. If that doesn't work out, that'll still be our plan, and we'll continue to look for a location.
Cool.
we're going to stay in Van Nuys and across the street from Budweiser, we're going to
Yeah.
put in a big plant
Yeah.
the size of Miller
Nice.
or
That'd be dope.
Lagunitas.
Yeah.
No,
That'd be dope.
One day,
Oh,
the
man.
Lagunitas guy had a job at a printing company in Van Nuys. Isn't that amazing? The
Oh,
guy
I didn't
who
know
runs
that.
Lagunitas.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Incredible. So it can be done. Everyone starts. Well, not everyone, but there's a lot of great stories of people starting really small.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
encouraging.
That's cool. So, one thing that we talk about when we first started the podcast, we had to basically introduce ourselves and tell what we
Yeah.
do. And we told you we work in the film industry, so we usually talk about our day to day, because it's always different. And I'm sure
always weird
running a
happening.
brewery, there's always something that you either didn't think of or something's happening. Alastair, what is your day to day in the brewery?
Well, I alternate between doing sort of engineering upgrades. My most recent one was trench drain. If you look behind us, you'll see that black thing that catches all the water. It goes wall to wall, and it was a little bit involved.
Okay.
We were flooding out the tasting room on occasion.
Just building slopes, and the river went all the way through to the elephant door.
All right.
Dang.
If they forgot to turn something off or whatever.
Yeah.
So between that and posting about what activities are happening in the evening, and organizing the food truck schedule, and taking phone calls about we want to have a party, and in a certain time, how many people can we bring a birthday cake? What food truck do you have that night? And stuff like that.
I was very evil, and I put Alastair's phone number on our website, so he
Oh,
gets all the calls about when are you open?
Amazing. So you guys, tap room's open 5 to 10, right? Weekdays.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone should come by.
What's funny about you mentioned the food trucks is my girlfriend follows food stuff on LA all the time, and she gets a bunch of food messages or whatever, and she saw this one amazing food truck that always posts outside of MacLeod Ale. I can't remember, it was some kind of barbecue truck, I think. I'm not quite sure which one it was,
Burnt
but
to a crisp.
probably, yeah. And
I really just love to say that. There, free advertising.
yeah,
Burnt
there you
to
go.
Crisp, Texas.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was it. So she, when you guys first contacted, or we first contacted you guys and hooked up for the first episode that we did with you guys, she was like, "Wait, I know that brewery because of the food truck, because they always say outside of MacLeod,
Well, that's what we hope for, because there needs to be a good symbiotic relationship between us and the food trucks. I feel guilty sometimes if we're not all that busy and there's a food truck out there, but then the other part of me says, well, they can do their part to publicize where they are and bring customers here. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
It's not just about us delivering customers to them.
100%.
They can bring customers in through our door. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to another plan I had, but I don't know if we should discuss this in public. But should I just go for it?
Well, I would need to know what it was.
Oh, well, you can't. You're about to find out. One thing that keeps coming to my mind, I love what we're doing, and I'm very solid on our British, the beers that we're doing. We're doing something different. I'm proud of the quality of our beers. But every so often I do get a little jealousy twinge when I see everybody selling the crap out of their whatever beers with whatever in them.
Yeah.
So I do have this idea, maybe this year or next year, to create sort of a sub-brand, a brewery within a brewery, similar to what they have going on with Lost Abbey and Port Brewing.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Except kind of the opposite, because the Lost Abbey was Port Brewing was the broad approach, and then Lost Abbey came in with the Belgian styles. So I would do the opposite. We already have the British, and then bring in kind of a niche brewery of like just fun beers, one-ofs, whatever we want, whatever Josiah feels like brewing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and another thing we're very interested in doing is if we get another facility, a duplicate license, any kind of building with space, we would love to do more bourbon barrel aging, or
cool.
or any kind of barrel aging,
Yeah.
wood casks, and because they need space.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's an excellent segue.
Oh, okay. Cool. What do we
Now
got
this
here?
is a beer we came out with a while ago called the Clumsy Lover. And then we stuck some in some Four Roses bourbon barrels.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I can smell it.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it got a little stronger because it evaporates in there.
It's just so
Fragrant.
interesting because you can definitely smell it.
That's
Yeah.
nice though.
Yeah.
Good work, guys.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I like
Sounds
bringing that
amazing.
beer out because we are capable of doing those other beers when we put our mind to it.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're cheapskates. Like we're on a budget, so we have to wait until kind people donate barrels to us, and then
Oh,
we
okay.
stick beer in there. So we're to
Sure,
3
hey.
so far.
This is cool.
You gotta go
though.
with the hookups.
Yeah. So we have another beer in those same barrels that's going to come out in the next week or two, which was the another beer we did a strong Imperial Oatmeal Stout called Keep Your Thunder in a Jar. And that one's aging in the same barrels plus one new barrel of Buffalo Trace.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we'll actually blend those because the Four Roses barrels have had 3 or 4 turns by now. So
Okay.
Very cool.
Do you guys how often do you turn out like different kinds of beers? Like
We can't
Every-
keep track of that.
Really?
That's
is it every
I
like
love
weekly
Joe.
basis?
Thank God. Well, every time I go back there, I mean, literally, I own this place, but I have to go back there and look at the brew sheets and go, "What the hell are they brewing now?" And like, "What? A Viking beer? What's going on here?"
Yeah.
So you'd think that we would sit down and plan and strategize, but it doesn't work that way.
Just
I think Joe
popping out new
Joe's
things.
his own guy, and he knows what he wants to brew.
That's
so.
cool though. I mean, like anytime. I mean, you can come here weekly and get something new that you didn't have.
Yeah, that's not how it used to be. Our original brewer was very much more about stability and knowing the plan, and so he had 4 basic beers, and then we rotated a few, 2 or 3 other beers.
Right.
Joe works in a completely different way. He's completely comfortable just brewing up a whole big batch of something brand new that he's never tested before. He has confidence in his skills, and he's proven that that he hasn't done a bad one, a clunker yet, as we say. So, and it adds so much excitement to the tasting room. People really, at first I was worried, like, oh, what are people going to do when they come in and that beer that they're used to isn't on tap. And maybe I was feeling a little worried about it too, but it's way more fun just to have new stuff on all the time.
Cool. So you mentioned Joe. That's your brewer. That's
Yes, Josiah Blomquist.
He's the one that goes through the whole process of making it. Whatever you guys come up with or whatever he comes up with comes out.
Let him
I defer
go
to
for it.
him. I do not get involved. I really feel like all of my employees are artists in a way. My taproom manager, my brewer. It's all artistry as far as I'm concerned, and I do not like to tell artists what to do. I mean, they are here
Yeah.
because they're artists,
I bet they
and who
appreciate
wants
that.
to be meddled
Yeah.
with?
That's
Nobody. So I think that they thrive more when they can do what they want. I mean, obviously everyone knows the game plan here. They know what it is that we're doing. He's not going to come in and make a Belgian or a sour without discussing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be very far off the rails for us.
Okay.
But he sticks mostly in the plan.
I like that.
I'm curious to know
That's really cool.
is the process of when he makes it. Do you guys taste it to approve it, or do you?
No.
you
Oh, he
just let
comes.
him-
Well, he comes running to us to let us try this.
Yeah.
And we taste it. It's not for approval.
But it's all done by then.
It's not that it's too late for us
It's
to
like
make it.
this is
This
this
is
is the
like, it's
product.
gonna be
have
the thing.
mine.
I love that ritual. It's sort of like his way of saying, look, I know I'm just doing my own thing over here, but I know you guys are the owners. And he has kind of like this ritual of like presenting us with the first taste of beer off the kegs.
Super cool.
And it's,
Nah,
yeah, it's
that's
really nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Do you guys know of any other breweries that even do that? Like let their brewer just do what they want? And then,
It would be sort of like your Victor Novaks, your highly decorated master brewers.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
I mean, that's-
meddled, heavily meddled.
Well,
That's
a lot
really
of the
cool.
really small ones have more freedom because a lot of the really small ones, the owners are the brewers, and so
Okay.
they are brewing
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
they want. But it's not a great way to make money because obviously you make money by making big batches of the same beer
Yeah.
over and over again, so that you can save money on labels and packaging and all that stuff. So, on the other hand, tasting room dollars are much higher than distribution dollars. So if we can do beers for the tasting room that get everyone excited,
Very cool.
you know,
Yeah.
we make money that way. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys think about maybe canning or bottling?
yeah, every day, every minute
how-
of every day.
Is what's that kind of process? Just thinking about that.
We were bottling, and then we switched brewers, and then we started making more beers, and we got really popular, and we didn't have the equipment that you see back there, and we couldn't make that much beer, and we almost ran out of beer one week.
Dang.
And I was sweating bullets. I was thinking of I was
Running out
going to a
means-
very dark place.
Getting to an embarrassingly low number of
literally having to close.
out altogether.
Yeah, I was actually, don't listen, ABC officers, but I was actually wondering, could I buy other beer and serve that somehow and just like get away with it for
Yeah.
a day or two until we get our supply back up?
Man.
Wow.
I didn't know what to do. So, but we got through that.
But
But so we kind of pulled back on the bottling and just
Okay.
had to kind of conserve and sell everything through here.
Yeah.
And then we also were bottle conditioning before, which is the same process as making the real ale, where it carbonates naturally. It's risky to do that because you can. Your beer could, your bottles can explode, which did have one. We did have one bottle that did that, so
Oh, wow.
we thought maybe we not do that anymore. So we are switching over to a conventional method of bottling, and so we have some equipment that's coming in like 2 weeks. So we're about to get that going. In fact, right when you guys came in, I was checking an email I got from my designer. We've been working hard to do really cool label design. We had a really cool bottle before,
Yeah.
but it was a little bit difficult because it had the beautiful logo printed right on the bottle, really big, and then this little strip label.
Oh, nice.
So you kind of had to line them up by hand, which
Okay.
is not
That's-
going to fly for long. So
Yeah.
we've been working hard to have an equally impactful label, but one where it doesn't matter where the label lines up. So it's been a challenge, but I'm excited. So it's label 2.0.
Nice.
So I'm excited.
Nice. That's cool. So that's probably the next year type of thing.
January.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Do you think that we'll be able to get it somewhere in Pasadena?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay.
Nice.
I mean, we'd like to have some of this, and well, maybe not this, but any of this.
Yeah, we were in Whole Foods last time. It's
Okay.
not necessarily going to be the same. We have a new distributor, so
We're going to be bottling the one that's bourbon barrel aging right now. We're going to be bottling that, and then we're going to be bottling some nice sessionable beers. We're going to be doing the Hog and the Bantam Pen,
Okay.
and then a pale ale that we don't have on right now called Better Days,
Okay.
and then the Bracken, and Lost in London, but not nitro. It's going to be CO2 version.
Cool. Cool.
So we're opening
Only
stout.
how do you guys feel about cans, though? Do you guys only bottles, or do you like cans, or?
Bottles and cans. I mean, we all like the idea of cans. The distributor tells me that even though they're fun and a lot of breweries are embracing them, can sales are still a fraction of bottle sales.
Yeah.
So and you can't sell a can for as much as you can sell a bottle for. I mean, if you had ounce per ounce, you
Yeah.
could get more for a bottle
We
than
like
you can
bottles
for a
more.
can.
Yeah.
So for us, economically, right now we just have to do the bottles, but I'm totally open to doing canning in the future. Our brewer has a good buddy who's just getting into mobile canning, so likely we'll be able to
That's
work
that's
with
cool.
him.
Yeah, very cool.
That's very cool. Yeah. What do you want to get into?
What?
We do have a little IPA here. It's
Oh.
not our normal IPA.
Okay.
We make very malty IPAs.
Yeah.
Nothing too hoppy. we normally have an IPA called Deal with the Devil, so this is sort of an interim, tide you over kind of IPA.
This was a candle. I'd have it all day in the house, like a legit smallest one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's very good.
So we didn't talk about this. Do you want to talk about the name?
Yeah,
MacLeod.
Yeah. Where's the name from?
It's pronounced MacLeod.
Not MacLeod.
Cleo.
Or MacLeod.
In the, like 1,000 years ago, a Viking warrior called Olaf the Black
Okay.
sailed his longship to Scotland.
Okay.
They basically took over a lot of Scotland.
All right.
And he had 2 sons. One was Laud or Laud, and the other one was Tormod. And they both grabbed one of the Scottish, went up in the West Highlands, a lot of islands, and they both had a huge island, and basically settled and interbred with the Scots. And the MacLeod came about, the son of Laud, one of the 2 sons of the original
All right.
settler. And my grandfather is descended from that. His name is
so
Roland MacLeod.
Oh,
He was
okay.
raised on the island of Skye.
Yes. So this is your family's name.
Yeah, he
dope.
had 2 daughters, one being my mother. So the name was destined to that line was going to discontinue. So
Right.
in a small way, we've kept it going.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
Dope,
A
man.
big way, actually.
Yeah.
And do you know that?
Viking beer.
So we just made a Viking beer, and we're calling it Son of Laud.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But we're not sure how we should tell people to pronounce it. Should it be Son of Laud or Son of Loud?
Hard to say. I mean,
Just not Son of Leon.
let me let me talk to
Definitely not.
Clan Society MacLeod. No, they have that. It's the Facebook page.
Yeah, every clan has a
shit.
society.
Okay.
So obviously, I don't know if we made this clear. We probably did, but Mac means son of.
Okay.
Oh, all right. That makes a lot of sense now.
See, what's funny is we
Oh,
second
man.
guessed ourselves when we were doing the intro, and we were like, we had everything prepared. We were gonna say everything about MacLeod or whatever, but
This is the first time.
the very first time, and then we were like, oh, are you gonna how are you gonna pronounce this? And we were like, wait, oh god, and because if we would have just read it, we probably would have figured it out. But
You're obsessed
my girlfriend at the time, my girlfriend was there with us, and she said, where's it from? And I said, I think the name is Scottish, and she knew right away. She's like, oh, because she knows accents, she's in theater and stuff like that. She's like learned a bunch of stuff.
But
And so we didn't believe her, so we looked it up, and we had to like find videos
of somebody pronouncing
of
the
somebody
name.
pronouncing your name, and so we found some
Somebody,
video
it's like a-
that came,
It was
somebody
like
that
an
could hear.
opening or something. I
One
don't
of
know,
your- like
somebody
a-
was doing some kind of.
I don't know. it was
of our brewery.
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
someone's
Somebody was
pronouncing it.
here, like,
Oh, yeah.
and
That's
we were
not
like,
necessarily a good reference
'cause-
because a lot of people call it MacLeod.
but when he, affirmed what she said, we were like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's definitely it.
yeah.
So we were glad we got it right the first time,
I
but
felt so dumb because I didn't ask you when I was here.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the fun facts about Alastair is that I confess that I haven't watched the movie, but in the movie Highlander, starring the character Connor MacLeod, correct?
Yes.
Alastair was actually an extra in the original
Oh.
Highlander movie.
yeah.
oh
On
dang,
horseback,
On horseback.
wielding a big sword.
oh nice. So you was looking baller,
Yeah.
just straight up.
You're like in like war gear. Like what was
Yeah,
what was the outfit?
Yeah, all the costumes came from. They came from France. There was a lot of leather and wool and kind of old school rustic.
Rad
Lots
outfit.
of replica,
And the ponytails.
arms.
Oh yeah.
The
They
ponytail.
put a wig on me. I had short hair at the time.
Oh, you did?
They
Oh.
wanted long hair. So,
Oh my god, I'm finding this.
Yeah.
Was
I'm gonna
that?
text
Was
it
that?
to
If you can find the frame, we'll give you a growler.
yeah,
Okay, I'll find.
Oh, that's awesome. Was
Oh,
that?
fine.
I'm on
my friend.
a grey Highland pony most of the time.
How far through the movie?
Okay.
Like a quarter, a half, 3/4?
Quarter of the way in.
Okay.
It's when they go early back to 1465 and
Yeah.
the village of Glenfinnan.
Okay.
And are you in a kilt?
The
or
battle
pants?
between the Frasers and the MacLeods.
Did you enjoy the experience? Or was it cool?
Oh, yeah,
or
it's
was
great.
it like,
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Alastair's parents raised Appaloosas. They ran a horse riding facility in Appaloosas, and they ran a farm with livestock.
That's cool.
Yeah, and my godmother as well had horses, so the two of them brought horses. And one of the interesting things was that the director of the movie felt like the extras, a lot of them were Hell's Angels from Glasgow, who all rode their motorcycles up there. They had the look going on, the beards and the long hair and everything. So, but they felt like somehow that the weather was kind of miserable, it was raining and stuff, which was good. I mean, and they made a lot of that artificial mist and stuff.
Yeah.
But all the soldiers were not animated enough. They were just a bit sort of complacent and lackadaisical. You know. There was no passion.
I think that's
awesome.
That's
Lack of
still
feeling.
relevant today with extras.
Yeah.
I mean, they just like kind of
they
mindlessly do what they're told to do, and they don't really.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But here's what they did. The solution was to go down to the local liquor store, and they bought a whole bunch of Scotch whiskey, and they came around pouring drams for everybody on the battlefield.
That's
And
amazing.
then ultimately, like, a couple people ended up getting cut, and
Yeah.
there was bleeding and stuff.
No, not cut from the scene.
Bleeding.
Actually, cut.
Actually, literally cut. Literally cut.
Yeah, there were accidents. Yeah. Because
That's
they
amazing.
were a little bit jacked up. And then also, like all these sort of slightly lawless Hell's Angels guys loved the idea of like, being able to somehow rip off these swords and stuff. So when we wandered back across the heather moors, there was like swords shoved under bits of stash to be picked up later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the village, the town of Fort William, which was nearby, in the evenings during the filming, they'd be going down the high street on their motorcycles with the swords.
Oh my god.
So they got away with it. They took the swords.
That's great.
Oh man,
That's
No,
great.
in the United States, that would probably cause some attention and maybe some police action. But in Scotland, probably
like-
just people
that's
just
rad.
yeah,
That's super
whatever.
rad.
That's actually a good segue. I was going to ask if you weren't brewing, and this is a question for us too. If we weren't doing film, what would we be doing? So, what would you guys be doing had you not started this? Would you be getting into something else, or what do you think?
Well, before I started the brewery, I knew I had to do something because I gotten a divorce and I needed to earn my own money. So I had a list, like go back to what I was doing before, which was working in print production at an ad agency, which has changed drastically since I've been gone raising kids. My other ideas were a cupcake shop, dog walking service. Just like I just asked myself, like, what would I like doing? Art gallery was on there.
Yeah.
All the things that I could see myself doing or had some kind of interest in, and that was if I was going to do it by myself. So I knew I could. I finally realized I could get Alastair to help me, and then we could do something really fun.
Yeah.
But I'd probably be doing one of those. But if I was a millionaire, honestly, and I could just do whatever I wanted, I'd just teach bagpipes and play bagpipes.
Oh,
That
cool.
would be my thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Alastair?
I would have continued in my profession as a landscape contractor.
Nice,
Okay.
nice. Okay.
I also, maybe sort of blending into actual house construction,
Oh, okay.
fixer-uppers or something like
Yeah, we
that.
talked about doing
yeah.
fixer-uppers. That would be fun.
I like,
You guys
I
watch
like,
Fixer Upper?
I like building. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Property Brothers is my jam, and
yeah.
they were bagpipers.
You watching the New Orleans?
Oh,
one?
really?
The
a little
Brothers
bit,
in New
yeah.
Orleans or Brothers to
Yeah,
New Orleans one?
I've been a little busy
Keep
recently.
seeing it
but
on,
yeah.
on the commercials. I'm not too into them. I have a friend that's like really into them, way into them.
That's how I'm going to survive the next 4
those
years.
those shows get
Watching
so
HGTV.
addictive.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
The other day I came home and my wife was watching a home reno show, and the commercial started, and I see the fast forward start. And I'm like, did you start recording this show? Like this is on our like DVR now. She's like, yeah, I guess I did. Keep watching it.
Oh, that's
I don't know. Like I don't
My
know.
DVR has Top Chef,
Okay.
Tosh.0,
Okay.
Seinfeld, but we
Huh?
didn't get around to the Seinfeld.
That seems like a very odd thing for me to like
Top
Tosh.0.
It's
Tosh
so
1.0.
no, it's perfect. When we get home at like midnight or 1,
Yeah.
and see how long we can stay awake with Tosh.0.
But when
Okay.
somebody's
it's a
getting
good unwind
hurt,
show.
when somebody's getting hurt, like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I
That's the
still
way.
can't watch people arm wrestling after there was one particular episode, and
Someone snapped it.
See, we are avid skateboarders. We've been skateboarding since we were kids, and like, there's always like bail compilations of like people bailing on skateboards, and it's so hard to watch.
brutal.
Yeah.
So
It's just
hard.
like
Yeah.
the thing is like with that, you can like see when it's about to happen,
Yeah.
like knowing how you would go about that same thing.
yeah.
And you're just like, oh, he fucked up. Like,
I
it's bad.
I actually have a bagpipe buddy who used to, acquaintance who used to be big into skateboards, and there's
Yeah.
a video of him jumping from a very high top of a staircase, landing, and his leg just.
Oh no.
And, oh,
Yeah.
See, that's the worst. We're getting too old for that. We can't jump down stuff anymore.
no,
Yeah.
it's like
We stay close to the ground now.
yeah. I mean, a little older, a little heavier.
Yeah.
You can't really get that
Get that
going
height.
on.
Yeah.
What is this? I've been curious about this one.
Okay.
that's an amber.
Okay.
No,
Amber ale.
I didn't pour that one.
Oh, didn't you?
Oh, it's a mystery.
It's right after
Possibly?
it was right after the hog.
Was that the cutting bracken?
I thought it would be number 12, Caladoon, no?
No, I didn't pour any Caladoon.
That doesn't make any sense.
All right. Well,
We'll see.
taste it and tell me what you think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna.
You tell us what it is.
Oh, where did you get that from? Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
right
Oh,
here.
okay.
The drunken landlady.
Oh yeah, it's a rye ale.
Joking.
Our first rye ale.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
What I love is that, I mean,
That's Jenny.
bagpipes are very geeky and quirky,
Right.
but
We're still trying to get her drunk.
the brewers have, I don't know if they're just humoring me or making fun of me or whatever, but they do. It's at a point where they look up the names now. They
Right.
will find. I mean, I have a long list of potential beer names that I have culled from Tunes
Yeah.
lists and whatever, but they'll come up with ones that I've never heard of. So they obviously have found all the sites where you can find bagpipe names, and they'll.
I feel like at this point they're in it. So like the fact that they're
deep.
already like looking up stuff for you
Yeah.
guys, they're definitely
They found
on
some
the
good
train.
names. They've found a lot of those. And at first Josiah gave me a hard time about how long the names were. And then he, as a joke, named that beer a hog in the Bantam pen, and then it got really popular. So then he got stuck with it. And now he only gives me the long ones, and they usually start with the word the. It's kind of a
Okay.
prerequisite. It has to start with the.
See, I like that. I like that you guys have a theme
yeah.
and you stick to it, and the fact that your brewers are already hopping on board with that, that's cool. Like,
That's
I think
really
it's an
cool.
awesome way to promote your beer, especially like if people want to get into it. Especially like us, like we like to know about the beer that we're drinking.
Yeah.
And we've slowly moved to craft breweries and stuff because it's just more interesting.
Yeah.
And sometimes the tastes get dull in the bigger factories, like, so we like the more interesting, more heartfelt, like, and like you said, artists making the brews. We love that.
And you can't, and not all breweries do the theme thing, but there are a lot of hobbies that come out. Like Ballast Point, obviously, is all about fishing, and there's a brewery that does kayaking, and those different
Right.
hobbies or interests come out in the beer names and in the decor and all that stuff. So
That's cool.
it's fun.
I like it. What's this? They can't see it on here, but who's this dog? And it kind of stands out on this.
So the dog is kind of a sad story.
Oh,
Of course.
of course,
I'm gonna bring
Pat.
up
Way to
the
go,
sad
Pat.
story.
Jeez. First tears on podcast. No, I think I cried
It's
one
not
time.
that. It's not sad like that. It's sad for me. It won't be sad for anyone else. So, so when we started this business, like I did not have enough money to start it. I thought I did, but I didn't. So it became one of those. My life has been sort of a downward economic spiral for quite a while. I haven't quite reached the bottom yet. Hopefully, I'm getting there.
Okay.
I did sort of a Steve Jobs kamikaze job to raise money. I sold my Apple shares. That was sad. And then I cleaned out my retirement account. I sold my house. I did everything. I sold stuff. So in my old life with money in a nice house, I had the good fortune of getting a little bit of a local art collection going. Like I would always go to the brewery art walk, or if I had friends who were artists, you know, I had kind of a nice collection.
Cool.
And one day I was feeling very low and I was desperate, and I just thought, well, I'm just gonna have to sell all my art. I'm just gonna have to do it. So I brought it all here. The walls were white at the time.
Yeah.
I brought my whole collection and we hung it up around all the walls, and I fully intended to put price tags on everything and sell it, but I never did have the guts. Sorry about the jiggle, but I never had the nerve. I just couldn't bring myself to put prices on everything. So that all got taken down, and that was one of the pieces, and it just remained here because we used to have a logo there. I wasn't quite happy with it, and the dog just was he just kind of fit in.
No, I dig it.
So and then we had a customer come with a dog who looked exactly like that with an underbite. I mean, it could have been a portrait of that dog. It was cool, but he's kind of an unknown dog. But my friend does dog portraits and other things. She does a lot of great art, but she's very good at dogs. Yeah, he's a cutie.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So check out that portrait if you come to the tap room. All right, so let's go ahead and I guess wrap it up. You guys, they've been quiet for us back there.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
They promised not to run the mill until we were done.
Okay, so we like to end every episode with the segment called The Little Things, where we kind of just say something that we're like a little thing that we are appreciative of. Could be like just that week, that day, or just lifetime. So I don't know. You said you had one before we started.
I have one. I've kind of monopolized, but this will give Alastair time to think about one.
Okay.
My little thing is that I really appreciate really good butter on a really nice piece of bread.
Oh my God, that's a good little thing.
That's a good one.
Like the European butter that has extra fat in it, unsalted.
Oh my God.
I have a particular brand, but there's several out there. But there's this one brand. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Even if it costs $4, like you want to say $4 for butter, but it's one of life's amazing pleasures, and it only costs $4. So you can't beat that.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Got me thinking about foods.
You got one, or you want me to?
No, I can't beat that.
Okay. What do you think?
My little thing this time would be, and it's relevant to you guys, is going to a new place and being treated, like a local, like treating, like when you go into a bar and you don't know like the people there or whatever, but everybody's cool with you. So I always like that. Like I like feeling. That's why I don't like going to more like commercial. Like if it's like a really popular bar. Like, especially if you travel, like I went to Europe and I went all over the place, and instead of like going and doing the touristy things, I wanted to go where the locals went, because that's where you really learn the culture. So getting to know the people and like I know it seems like a big, I guess it's more of a big thing, but I know just getting treated like a human being is fun for me.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You think you got one, Alastair?
Well, a pleasure moment that I experienced in Glasgow, Scotland, as they say in America. Because I'm sure there's a lot of Glasgows in America, here and there, villages called Glasgow. There's a pub called the Park, and one of the barmaids, or her mother or her sister or whatever, made this tablet. Which is sort of a very sugary version of fudge.
Okay.
And it was for sale in little bags for £1 each, and that combined with any good single malt Scotch whiskey is a great thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Yeah. What you got, Pat?
All right. So I recently had a birthday earlier this month, and I think my little thing is when you invite somebody to come over and they actually show up. Like, I think that's my little thing. Like, you're like, I'm expecting this person, and they actually come.
Yeah.
I think that's my little thing. People that are gonna come to a thing you invite them to.
Because you almost like.
There's a whole therapy session right there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Because you always like. There's always that person that doesn't respond.
Oh,
you don't know.
Or they do show up and they didn't say anything.
Right.
And like you're like, oh, I didn't account for you. You don't get a slice of cake.
It's like,
it's
it's like
sorry.
It's like I only made 6 hot dogs and you came without telling me, so.
I only got 6 months, bro. Sorry.
Sorry,
I can't
bro.
do it. I think that's my little thing for this one.
Well, I really appreciate you having us.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing
really
your
appreciate
story.
it a lot.
It's awesome that you guys are running and doing something a little different than everybody else. It's really cool, and we really appreciate what you do.
Linda's come here. This is rad. Your tap room's rad.
Thank
This
you.
is awesome. Like, it's the coolest background we've ever had on a show.
Yeah, we'll give you a little mini tour when we're done.
Oh, nice.
Speaking of, do you offer that to people? If somebody wants to come see it, do you guys?
Usually when someone's looking wistfully or standing near the gate and just kind of peering over, we usually just catch them and go,
Come on.
Hey,
look
come on!
we
Yeah.
don't have anything formal.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, everyone, come see MacLeod and Van Nuys.
sure.
What's the address here?
14741 Calvert Street.
Calvert Street. So come by 5 to 10. The tap room's open Monday to Friday.
And then weekends noon to 10.
Okay. Come check that out.
Where can we find you guys on social media? You got an Instagram?
All that stuff. It's at MacLeod Ale. MacLeod Ale on Twitter, but our Twitter's kind of lame. It's just a feed from Facebook.
Ours is lame.
Hey.
It's okay.
Our Instagram is good though.
Nice.
Especially on Mondays because we have $4 pint night, and we used to
nice.
offer all the beers, but that was killing us financially. So
Well.
we just decided we would just offer 2 beers, and so our very creative staff on that day, bartenders, they make a little film, a little movie,
Nice.
explaining which beers are the beers of the day, and they started off pretty tame with a script and whatnot, but now they are just
They swing it.
completely crazy.
Nice.
So if you go through our Instagram feed, you'll find some wacky videos.
Sometimes they even forget to mention what the beers are.
Put it in the caption. You should check those out. They're pretty funny.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
of course, we're on Facebook, and we have a website.
Cool. Yeah, and if you can't find them there, we follow all their stuff. So
And
go
we'll
check out
probably
our
post
feeds.
links to our videos or the iTunes.
Yeah, of course
stuff.
we will.
Yeah, MacLeod is a rare name, so if you Google MacLeod and forget and remember to make it M-A-C, not M-C, then it will come up.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. All right. So you can find Drew
At DREWPASLAY.
and me at PAT_ARTUS, and us on everything, basically Quick Sixer Podcast, gmail.com if you want to write in a topic or anything like that. Quick Sixer Cast on Twitter and on Instagram, all that stuff.
Right?
But yeah, this was fun, guys.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
It's been our pleasure.
Anytime. All right, cool. Thanks.